Hey guys, today I want to be doing a video on patience and using like the map as a resource in your games, which I think is pretty interesting, pretty cool to see. And I'm going to be doing it with two different decks, two different replays, and I'll just be highlighting to you what like patience kind of looks like in CR, what it means, your limiting factors, stuff like that. But like kind of before we start, I just wanted to highlight this. So if you guys have never been to my streams, my girlfriend EsoPa actually got this shirt for me, and I haven't gotten the chance to wear it, but here it is. It is an EsoPa shirt. She got it custom made with the image that I use for my Twitch. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, getting back to it. Let's see. So I have two gameplays I want to show you. One is Golem Pump. Like the epitome of just like playing patiently, using your towers for damage, and then just doing a huge counterattack, right? Against like this guy, Armageddon, I just pronounce his name. This guy just dropped a whole bunch of cards at the bridge, and we'll kind of show you why that's not like the ideal way to play, even against the pump. And then we have, let's see, not this game. This game we're playing Minor Inferno against Hog Rider E-Barbs with Rocket, and like in this game I think is really important because we take a lot of damage in the beginning trying to find out his cycle, and then like after he does like his big push and gets a bunch of tower damage on us, he doesn't really touch our tower after that unless it's like rocket after rocket. So I'm going to show you guys like what that kind of looks like. Let's see. So we'll start off with this golem replay here, and in this golem replay, so some things to use as a general guideline. This is pretty specific, but I might as well talk about it if you guys ever want this deck. Golem, the golem in general is, how do I put it? One of the things you don't want to do with golem is use it, before like you never want to be playing things like golem, lava hound. What else is there? I don't know, those like kind of the big ones, like the really big expensive tanks in the beginning. Because if someone just had like an expo, someone just had like a big Hog Rider push, they just kill you and take your tower. So like my mindset in this game when I go into the game with a golem elixir collector deck is that I want one as many elixir collectors as I can get. To find out their cycle and to not take that much damage on my tower. The way that collector is nowadays, like you're kind of forced to take damage, but the skill there is like trying to reduce that damage down as much as possible, so you're not just giving a tower away for free before you even get to your big attack, right? So there's a lot of patience in this game. Patience is kind of it has a different connotation to it. Like most people would say patience comes down to like your elixir bar, comes down to what your opponent is playing, when you're playing this stuff, and it's not just like one thing, it's kind of like all those things, and you kind of have to just take it into take it into focus when you're playing these slower decks, even faster decks. So you're gonna see me right now, I'm just gonna wait, drop the musketeer, see what he's gonna do. All I'm doing here is just waiting to see what he does. He drops a prince at the back. I believe I pump here. Yeah, I pump here. I log back the prince, trying to get as much damage as possible. Or even zap it. Two E-Barbs are coming into my tower. Ice Golem will slow this down a lot. He also drops a Hog Rider trying to punish what I've done. And so overall, I got a pump. I took one E-Barb hit, and I think I would take about 3 to 4 Hog Rider hits, right? So my tower goes down to about 1200. I have a pump. Everything on the map is a resource. All of this is a resource. This is a resource. This is a resource. Well, technically, like this only becomes a resource when, one tower is taken. But I essentially gave up my tower health to get a pump, right? And it's up to like your discretion to know when that's like good and when it's bad. If I had, say, taken all this damage without pumping, that's pretty bad because then I have to pump as there's a dead card in my hand and then I take even more damage. I cycled, by the way, I cycled all those cards like Log, Musketeer, Log, Zap, and Mega Minion just to, and like I cycled 4 cards so my Elixir Collector is back in my hand. He threw down so many things that he doesn't really have like a real push. I respond by Musketeer, and then I'm looking to pump one more time. The entire time, like if we freeze frame this, if we freeze frame a lot of what I'm doing here, there's a lot of patience, and there's a lot of just waiting to see what your opponent is gonna do. And the way I kind of refer to that is like the potential to outplay. That's where like potential to outplay is seen most often. If we go back into the replay and just kind of look for how many times I do this, it's pretty often. When I talk about potential to outplay, you see most top players do this. they'll give themselves time. They'll give themselves time within this like window of opportunity where your opponent can play such and such card or do such and such action. If they don't do such and such action, then you get away with this, or you can open yourself for an opportunity to do this, right? And if you don't open yourself up to those opportunities, then you lose that chance to outplay on people. It doesn't even look like an outplay where I just, you know, drop a Musketeer and just defend. But in truth, I'm sitting there looking at what he's going to do, and if he reacts in a way that I think that he's going to react, then I can counter it. If he doesn't do it, then I get away with something. And in this case, it's always going to be like my pump, because that's the center of my like play. So I'm just gonna ×2 through this, and we're just gonna watch this. I drop Muskie. He drops the Ice Golem at the bridge, and my potential to outplay is like sort of right here where I'm thinking like this. The distance between this Musketeer and this Prince is the difference between whether or not this pump goes up. I'm trying to see how he reacts here. Like if say he had dropped like a Hog right here, this would have been a overextension, but I didn't see him play anything quite yet. He sees the pump and then he reacts. But by this time, this is already too late. All of this attack is sort of too late. He does get a lot of hits on me. He isn't able to punish me further. Here's another chance to outplay. Right? I'm responding to him by dropping this Musketeer. This Musketeer is going to hit the Ice Golem and it's going to hit the Archer. If he does nothing, then I get away with a pump. And if he was following my cycle, I get another pump. So he has to do something here. This is my window for outplay right here. Or his window to punish me. Does he take it? He probably can't because he invested so much elixir on the other side. So right here, this tells me I'm free to go ahead and pump a second time. He drops a Prince before he even hits 10 elixir. I give up the Musketeer knowing that all I have to do is hold off this one push and I probably win the game. He drops a huge minion horde. I zap everything to stop it. And I defuse the situation with the Ice Golem. Now the game is 1 minute and 30 in. We're keeping track of the time. Golem is best played at the 1 elixir, double 2 times elixir mark. But he's going to keep attacking us, so we drop Mega Minion, we drop Log. We're passing by the time. Another chance for outplay right here, another pump opportunity. And we have pumping back in our hand. We have a Mega Minion coming to his tower. We know that he's out of elixir. So even if he responds to this Mega Minion, our pump probably goes uncontested. We get another pump, and then we hit 1 elixir overtime, and then the game is like done. Because he won't have nearly enough for what he's done in the early game in order to punish us here. Because we, technically, it doesn't look like it, because outplays to everybody else kind of looks like, you know, prediction plays or like really fancy moves, but this is like I pretty much just outplayed him through patience and understanding like what I could get away with and what I couldn't get away with. We ×2 it through here, and I drop Golem, and just watch how many units I produce right now. Sure, the first Golem, whatever. I'm dropping more and more units. I drop the second Golem over here. I have enough elixir to even drop Elite Barbarians. And I take his tower. So with like the combination of we're patient, we are looking for opportunities to pump since it's our quote unquote win condition. You have to usually get pumps up in order to make Golem work. We're able to take advantage of a player who attacks us relentlessly, gets a lot of damage on our tower, but gives up any semblance of late game to us that where like we just dominate. We just have two healthy pumps going with a golem push with none of our towers like threatened right after that. Now we go down here. This is a matchup between minor chip damage with an Inferno against a Hog Rider Rocket E-Barb deck. This deck is also another like really aggressive deck, needs to get in there. And what happens in this game, like I said right in the beginning, is we take a lot of damage in the beginning similar to the Golem deck. We used our towers as resources in order to figure out what kind of deck he was playing, how to play around it, and then right after that damage we took, we are able to slowly chip him down and we don't take any return damage. Okay, let's see. Cycling through my cards. In a hand like this, I usually just like to throw down Musketeer at the back or Ice Spirit, one of those two. I see him play Mega Minion, so I respond to the side of Mega Minion with the Musketeer. He rockets it. So I've seen Mega Minion, I've seen Rocket. This left tower is going to take a lot of damage. I immediately go into offense because of that rocket, and I have to respond to this, so I drop minions over here. I lose 2 minions, but it's like not that bad. I see E-Barbs, and now the game sort of gets interesting here. He drops a Hog Rider with the E-Barb push, and this is where I take a lot of damage. Now, if we categorize his like deck, it's going to be a Hog, Rocket, E-Barb, like kind of rush deck, right? Supporting units are probably, we can kind of assume he has like Ice Golem, Ice Spirit, Zap/Log, like something along that line. Here I'm trying to minimize as much damage as possible because like I reacted without knowing that he had Hog Rider because I don't know it yet, and I want to take as little damage as I can here. I see there's 1 hog hit, 2 hog hits. This is gonna be a lot of hog hits, 3, 4 hog hits, and this is tower damage. As we said earlier, this is as much tower damage as he's probably going to be getting throughout the game. The only damage he gets from here on out is spell damage, because now we know his win condition, we know how to play around it, we know what cards to hold in our hand. The only difference here is like how do we play out our win condition now? How do we play out the game with patience in a way where he no longer gets damage on our tower and we get damage on his? Send up the miner with the Musketeer. He drops off Mega Minion. Unfortunately, our Musketeer takes out the Mega Minion because the tower is not there to help it. We trade, and now if we think about what's back in his hand, we know that Rocket's back in his hand because he only used it once. We know that he used E-Bars before Hog Rider, so the E-Bars are back in his hand. Hog Rider could be back in his hand, depending on like, I don't know, like it's probably better to be safe to think that. So that's why I have Inferno held right now. When you're playing against E-Barbs, patience really is key in stopping them. Like you have to be aware that they exist. You have to have the cards in your hand in order to counter it. If you have both of those conditions met, the E-Bars are not a scary card. Right now, it's kind of scary for me because the cards in my hand are not very good for handling E-Barbs. Like, obviously, I would want to Ice Golem here. Ice Golem Minion takes care of it. So, instead, like, I'm kind of having to hover the Inferno. If you played E-Barbs, I would not play Inferno. If you played Hog Rider, I played Inferno. But these minions are sort of here. Minions, Ice Spirit, Log, in order to make sure that I can probably get to my Ice Golem if I needed it. Waiting, he doesn't drop anything. I'm trying to not play anything near my tower, like Musketeer. If I played Musketeer here, 10 out of 10 he'd rocket it. So I'm holding on to Muskies. I'm looking to just defend and then attack. So he drops E-Bars at the bridge. I drop Muskie away from my tower, and I pull with the Ice Golem. It just kind of sucks that this Elite Barb got to the tower. I played my Ice Golem a little bit late and also here, so one got away. Counterattack with the Miner. This also comes into a little bit of like the matchup. Hog Rider usually does have trouble against Miner Chip because Miner Chip can always appear anywhere. Hog Rider is pretty linear. You play Hog Rider, I play Inferno. Your Hog Rider most likely never gets through. So I can play for the long game. He actually takes us out with my Ice Spirit, but I'm getting value here. I'm being really patient here. I'm trying to play safely. I play the Musketeer away from my tower. This is not within rocket range. He wants to rocket it, but he knows it's out of cycle. He drops E-Barbs. I drop minions, Ice Golem, Inferno, and we're slowly going to come back into this game. Make sure our tower doesn't get any more damage. I think this extra damage is just by the Elite Barb, right? And we're slowly kind of fixing that lead that we were behind now. Throw out the Fireball. The Muskie actually hits the Mega Minion. And now we're in like a good cycle. We have all of the cards needed. He knows that if he were, say, like, there's 16 seconds left in the game, I'm like chipping him out really hard right now. Imagine if he did just throw a rocket at my tower, right? And you say like, oh, but couldn't he have just spell cycled you out? Not really, because if he had spell cycled me out, I just turn on the aggression without having to worry about his counters. I don't have to care about Hog Rider. I don't really have to care about E-Barbs if he's just solo rocketing my tower, because then he has to deal with my offensive, with my spells, and by the time he's able to get back the elixir to play his counters, I already have my cards needed in my hand in order to stop that. So as you see, I just slowly play good defense, playing patiently, knowing what he can and cannot do, and we take the game just like that. After the 1,000 something damage we took to our tower, he didn't do any after that except the really like pretty the Elite Barbarian drop on me and then some spells. So to recap, we played a patient game. I mean, pretty much like the point of this video is to show you that if you want to play well, you want to be playing patiently and you want to look for outplay potential, just potential, and try to build your game around that so that you don't make glaring mistakes. You don't just like kind of give away leads to your opponent for almost no reason. I used in this golem game, I used my tower health as a resource in order to get up my pumps, which allowed me to do huge pushes in the late game after his relentless aggression. He basically upped his early game and gave up his late game. I played the early game, but I won the late game, and the late game transitioned to me having a win. This Miner deck that I played, I took damage in the early game also again, and instead like I traded my tower as a resource to find out his deck. Once I found out his deck, he didn't touch me again, and we transitioned from there using our patient play of sending miners to a tower, holding off his E-Barb aggression / Hog aggression, and slowly whittling him down through our patience. Yeah, if there's anything else that you guys want to see, just comment below. I'm going to be putting out more videos soon enough, and getting to your guys' comments later. Thank you very much for watching.